Okay, so today's video is going to be with my friend Paola, and I'm going to ask her a question. And the question is it okay if I tell him about your
Yeah.
business? Okay. My question is, she's been surviving, I guess, cancer?
Yeah.
Yeah? Uh-huh. And I wanted to know, what can you, what can you, what wisdom can you impart to people that are going through this and feel like there is no way out? That what hope, what wisdom do you have to share or gift them?
Hmm. I think what I feel definitely is how you're seeing uh, the cancer to be part of you or something foreign outside of you that came to sabotage and doom your life, So it's really about the perspective. So just in that, like, I feel like I'm not just surviving, I'm trying to thrive within it and embrace it versus like feeling like I'm the victim.
Yeah.
And I think, we're all doing our best with what we can, but in the process, I think I've learned that we can always improve our best. Like, what is that, you know? So I think it's just in a nutshell for me, like, it's helped me become a more conscious person about my health, about my life, about my relationships with the people around me, especially my kids, and relationship with myself ultimately, because that's what it was all about. So it's not something outside that just kind of like came and you know um, was doomsday for me. It was more like the realization that it was something that came about from within me. Not to say that it was my fault, but it definitely was something that made me wake up to the way that I was living. I think there's some people that are, you could say they're healthier than other people and end up getting cancer. And some people that are really just, doing so much and they're okay. And maybe they might have other complications later or they might have cancer. So it's really just not comparing yourself for one thing, just understanding where you are with what you have and making the best out of it.
So, what can you tell me? Tell me how you viewed the world before you had cancer, and how do you view it now?
Well, I think I was definitely stuck in a victim mentality for
Okay.
sure. I
But why
was.
can't you be still stuck in a victim mentality? It's actually
Mm,
happening to you. So, why do you feel like, because it wasn't your fault you had cancer? I mean, you didn't intentionally go into the, like a source of cancer and say, I'm going to take this on for myself. So, why can't you feel like the victim of this disease?
um, I can't feel that way. One, because it's life or death.
Mm,
So that's where it's pushed me. It's like, at least for me, it's been like, even from the things that I'm putting in my body and also thinking, living and breathing, it's like it's always a choice to either, uh, you know, be a healing medicine for cancer, or is this feeding the cancer?
mm-hmm,
So it becomes a question of that. And it's not a perfect one shot, of course
mm-hmm,
not, but you do your best.
mm-hmm,
But now as you become just a little more aware, it's like you can't cover your eyes again. You start just seeing more of it, and then,
mm-hmm,
you just have to be pulled to like, do I want to stay or do I not?
mm-hmm. Stay. What
So
do you mean, do I want to stay?
it just is like a matter of life or death. Like
Mm-hmm,
my choices are pretty much to that radical point.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Before I think you don't have a terminal or some kind of, not even terminal, but just some kind of illness,
mm-hmm,
it just seems like it doesn't, your mortalities, it doesn't quite hit you.
mm-hmm,
It just seems like you have all this time, and it feels like you have this superpowers that you see other people getting these things, but you're somehow not going to get them, you know. So I guess you tap into the realness of life, and that life is part of, you know, brings suffering, it brings illness, it brings death, it brings a whole lot of things. And so by me saying that, it's just like it's pushed me to like, do I want to live or do I want to die? You know, and every, you know, I think we all have that choice, but it's not so immediate, you know.
When you ask this question, do I want to live or do I want to die? I can, let's say I'm being a devil advocate and saying, well, of course I want to live. So why do you have to ask that question of yourself?
I like that you're bringing that more into highlight, because interestingly, I think not till I embraced my mortality completely, where I was okay to die, was where I actually wanted to live.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I guess,
So are you saying that you, when you're going through this, you have to live in a way where if you were to die tomorrow, you would be at peace with that?
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think it comes from self-love, which is something that really I was not in at all when
Yeah.
I had the cancer. I mean, I did everything I could in terms of, I meditated, I did yoga, I ate fairly good. You know, I did my part to be a good citizen, or, you know, being of this planet, but the things that I was doing were not being driven by a place of abundance or love, or it was coming from a place of scarcity, a victimhood. So I was trying to do these things to be loved or approved from external sources versus really having that inner fountain of wealth, you know. So I guess that's more what I mean in regards of just, and now that I have accepted my mortality, I would be okay leaving anytime, and I'm okay with that. It makes peace. It would be mostly sad to leave my children because they're still young and underage, but I've come to the point that I feel like, you know, whatever this greater picture is that I can't even wrap my small little human brain around, there's something greater, and we all have our own journeys, and I had to just let go to accept that.
Yeah.
And so if I go, it was meant to be. And while I'm here, I embrace every moment and nourish, you know, or cherish every moment with them, you know, because I know it's not permanent. And when you accept that impermanence is when you really start cherishing every moment.
Um, I want to know, like, before you accepted your mortality, and after, what are the things that you cherish that you didn't before? Besides life, of course, you know, that's
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of like a whole wrapped present, but what individual things in that present of being human, of having a body that can roam in this earth, what is it that you cherish the most that you
Um,
didn't before?
yeah. Um, Definitely, yeah, cherishing the present more.
And
And
how do you do that now?
um, I guess now I am, and like, again, it's not a clean shot, but I feel like it's more available to me, where I can really embody this moment fully with who I am with and with myself. And I think that was maybe uncomfortable before. I feel like before there was so many things I was just trying to cover up or ashamed of or felt guilty about, and then, you know, you start to break away some of those spells of like, why am I creating it? Why am I making life so hard on myself? You know, but then again, it's like that's what you were modeled. That's what you. So ultimately, yeah, I know illness now, it's been demonstrated that it's not something just in your genes, it's an
Mm.
epigenetic, phenomenon where it's not just, like a curse that we were
Mm.
given through, our parents, through our genes, but it was really like the way we learn to adapt to our environment,
Mhm.
society, our culture,
Mhm.
and how our parents deal
Mhm.
with stress and those different dynamics, that we learn to embody, and then eventually we don't even question them. We just see them as normal.
Yeah.
And so you
Like what?
living, um, just I would say like particular things in relationships, like I belief systems that where I would have like, oh, I believe that, I will never,
Mm.
be able to be happy or
Mm.
successful or
Mm.
really truly have someone that really loves me. So I
Mhm.
will always have to abandon people because they're
Mm.
going to abandon me. So
Mhm.
I've come to that deep core understanding of like abandonment issues. and
Mhm.
and so to me, just even having, my breast removed from the second
Mhm.
cancer was to not abandon myself.
Mm. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thanks. So it's a physical reminder,
Yeah.
and ultimately, yeah,
Yeah.
deeply
I felt that in my heart.
connected.
I did. I really
Thanks.
did.
It's emotional, mental,
Yeah.
and spiritual.
So, if you can give three things to the people that are, I guess, in the same situation that you are,
Mm.
to make their life better, and I'm saying it could be tangible and it could be intangible, but
Mm.
what are the three things that you can give them as a gift from your wisdom of going through this that will help them through the long run in the future?
Mm. Yeah, I would definitely say that this is not, having illness, whether it's cancer or any other thing that, that might be difficult to go through,
Hmm.
any big challenge in your life,
Yeah.
it's definitely there as a portal for you to become better and
Yeah.
not as a curse
Yeah.
or something that you
Yeah.
did wrong.
Yeah.
It's really an opportunity to almost rebirth yourself, if you
Ah,
will,
so number
and
one, opportunity to rebirth yourself.
yeah.
Okay.
And secondly, I would say,
I have a question about that.
yeah.
Does that mean that you can be anyone you want to be? Is that what you're saying, or
Um,
what does that mean? Rebirth yourself.
Rebirth yourself, I guess, would be giving birth to more of who you really are.
What does that mean?
I think we are all born with a particular mission, maybe, if you
Yeah.
will, or
Uh huh.
we have our own unique individual, like, just awesomeness
Yeah.
that that gets that gets sort of hidden as
Yeah.
we grow up,
Right.
from being ashamed of who we are,
Right.
being, you know, we get, it's kind of like a light, let's just use that
Mm.
metaphor, but it gets dim throughout our lives
Yeah.
sometimes. And so being rebirthed in Spanish is like, birth is giving light. So
Yeah.
it's like giving light to ourselves
I
again.
love
It's
it.
rekindling,
I love it.
reigniting that light, or,
Ah, that's
that
beautiful.
flame that you really are, and that you've kind of not allowed yourself to be, because ultimately we're
Yeah.
doing it onto ourselves, and having to take that radical responsibility for your own life,
Yeah.
and remember that we're co-creating.
Yeah.
And I think instead of like this, it's all happening to you,
Yeah.
and life is shitty, and life is
Yeah.
just unfair, and life is this, and yeah, life is a lot of things, but that's life.
Right.
It's not just all happening to you. It's not
Right.
personal.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
I
not
love that.
personal. It's not permanent. And we can only practice, to stay present.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the three P's
Can
from
you
mindfulness.
summarize the three?
Yeah, it's the three P's from
Number
mindfulness.
one.
So number one, it's not personal.
Okay.
Number two, it's not permanent.
Okay.
And number three is practice presence.
Yeah.
And
Is that the gift you want to give them?
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it was a gift that was given to me
Yeah.
through mindfulness, and
Okay.
I have to say, mindfulness was a really big tool to help me work through a lot of internal turmoil
Okay.
and to let things go.
Yeah.
You know, to not hold grudges, resentment, and things like that.
Yeah.
And also learned healthy boundaries, how
Yeah.
to stand up for yourself. I think a lot of, at least personally, my issues were all around how to create healthier boundaries and stick
Yeah.
up for myself and, you know, not just let things happen to me, but choose like what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things to happen.
Create your own world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some things that are inevitable.
Yeah.
There's a thing in the mindfulness also that there's the four noble truths, and the first one is saying that, you know, in life there is suffering.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that life is suffering.
Yeah.
It just means that life is everything,
Yeah.
and that's part of it.
Yeah.
And to be alive, you have to experience
I love it.
all of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, here's the catch. So there's like, you can see it as like two arrows. One arrow is like the first,
Yeah.
you know, shot of just whatever happens in life, you know, that caused some challenge or just unfortunate circumstances or, you know, whatever, suffering in your life, right? So that's one arrow. And then you can take that arrow and either go through the process of grieving, whatever that arrow, you know, is helping you become more resilient for. But then there's the second arrow that we then add more fire to the fire. So
Yeah.
it's like it's already painful enough to
Yeah.
get shot by one arrow.
Yeah.
But imagine getting shot by two arrows. Like
Yeah.
that's even worse. So what this is teaching us is that, you know, in life there is suffering. So yeah, it's going to stab you. Sometimes it's going to hurt.
Right.
And go through the process, feel it, let
Yeah.
it be.
Yeah.
But don't stay there.
Yeah.
Don't also then say like, oh, I lost my job. Well, I
Yeah.
lost my job because
Yeah.
I'm not good
Yeah.
enough.
You're
because
judging
I'm
yourself
exactly.
because of something that happened.
That's where we
Yeah.
have choice. We
Yeah.
have choice to how we want to deal with that
Yeah.
first arrow.
Yeah.
So the second arrow is us just adding more fire to the fire.
Yeah.
So do you really want to do that, or how do you skillfully,
Yeah.
you know, allow yourself to again reconnect to that fire
Yeah.
and let it get stronger versus weaker, you know, from the first arrow.
I love it.
Yay, it's raining.
Yeah. So I guess the nature is telling us, yeah, you need to get the fuck out of here.
It's
So
cleansing, actually.
I am honored to do this video
Aw,
with you,
thank
Paola.
you. I'm honored.
Like and subscribe, and I hope this video has helped you. And I guess I'll definitely see you in the next video.
Yay.